First Unitarian Church of Louisville honors Bud Doresy. Bud has been photographing the Black experience in and around West Louisville for over 50 years. After 17 years of freelancing and 21 years as a Louisville Defender solo staff photographer, Bud retired, but never put his cameras down. Having survived cancer several years ago, but never let that stop him from doing what he loves to do. He feels that his best therapy is to continue to photo document the Black lives and the community in West Louisville.
Bud has produced a book of his photographs, and you've just seen a number of pictures from the book. And his books will be for sale after the service in the coffee hour. So we're going to go through and talk a little bit about Bud's history, but I do encourage you to purchase the book because it will certainly cover a lot more ground than we're going to be able to in a few minutes here. Bud, you and I have been talking a good bit lately, and it's amazing that our experience goes back into the 1960s. And I think that probably I had said no more than hello or hi to Bud Doresy over the last 50 or more years. And yet Bud was always there at many demonstrations and key events that happened in our city and in the Black community in Louisville over that time period. Bud, would you describe your experience in the 1960 rebellion that happened in Louisville? And there were rebellions going on all over the city after the death of Martin Luther King, and explosions really of pent-up frustration and anger, and all happened in Louisville. Could you talk about that and what you saw?
Well, good morning. I'm a little, I don't know, I guess what everybody's got, this little throat problem, but I'll do the best I can do. If we're talking about the 68 civil disobedience that happened in West Louisville at 28th and Greenwood.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I don't call it a riot, I call it just a civil disobedience. But yeah, I witnessed that. I was there right in the center of the conflict when everything broke down. The crowd, it was hot and humid that day, and the crowd was waiting on a couple of the guest speakers to come in. They were flying in, was going to land at Stanford Field. That's what it was called, the Stanford Field. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Stokely Carmichael and Rap Brown. But word started circulating through the crowd that authorities were holding their plane up and they were circling Louisville trying to run it out of gas. That's exactly what they were, that's what the rumor that was circulating. I guess after about 45 minutes to an hour of people trying to explain why the guest speakers hadn't got there, I guess Louisville police decided they've heard, seen enough. They came into the intersection at 28 and Greenwood with their nightsticks, weapons drawn, and tried to disperse the crowd. Well, quite naturally, the feeling of the people about a little earlier in the year about the assassination of Martin Luther King and the situation that they were trying to let the plane crash with those two speakers on it, all heck broke loose. Now, if you ever ride past 20 Greenwood where the Family Dollar is at, That used to be another building, and I can remember this clearly, like it was yesterday. It had a chimney, big chimney on top of the building. There was a lot of young people up there. That chimney stood about 10, 12 feet in the air, from on the roof all the way up. When the police came into the intersection, that chimney was reduced to rubber, to nothing in no time. They were using the bricks to throw at the police. But, you know, a brick against a gun, but they used that brick, a chimney disappeared in less than 10 minutes. Also, the 68 riot also bring back members of my deceased wife, who was my I don't know, she was a film carrier, so to speak. I was shooting photographs. I would give the film to my wife, who was pregnant with my oldest son, who is 49 years old now. And she had witnessed this type of stuff before, because she was from LA, Los Angeles, and she was in the watch riot in South Central in California. So I guess I would call her a riot veteran. but anyway, yeah, because she wore a little scar on her ankle that she had got during the riot as a badge of honor. She would, so this is what I got in the riot, okay. But anyway, I would give her my film, and she would take it up to the courier, and they would give her more film to bring back to me. And I'm saying that I was sending my film to the courier because during that particular time, the courier had an all-white photography staff. And it was, they were the first ones they ran up out of there. Being white, being a photographer, boom, they ran them up out of there. But getting more back to the riot, except for one guy, he's a leading photographer right here in the city today. He was trapped in a phone booth, and they were trying to turn the phone booth over. Wait a minute, and someone screamed, "Go get the gas!" If he doesn't want to come out of that phone booth. I saw this individual. I saw what was going on. I shot a few pictures. Then I went. You know, I wasn't going to let it happen. Regardless, if they'd have turned on me, fine, but I wasn't going to let. So I told him that he was with me, and that he was just doing his job. But if you would let him out, I would make sure that he would get out of the area. And unknowingly to me, a lot of people didn't know me back in, even though, the picture man said that this is a friend here, let him, so they let him go. And make a long story short, I know I'm a kind of, one day last year, I put some pictures on a Facebook site called Louisville Photographic Society. I put some pictures on there of a demonstration and a protest that was going on here in Louisville. And when I was looking at all the ones, somebody was typing, said, "This is not a page for a political for your political views." I said, "What? You know, what is he talking about?" But a lot of people came to my defense. They said that, well, if this man can't publish these pictures what he shot, then I don't like wedding photographers putting stuff in. I don't like fashion photographers. So where are you going to draw the line? So he said, well, I'm going to delete all the pictures, the ones you put on here of that protest. I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm not going to cry over it. But anyway, he kept on talking and kept on typing it in and stuff. And I said, something strange about this. I said, are you a photographer? He said, yes. I said, okay. I said, well, do you know anything about the civil rights or the civil disobedience in West Louisville? He said, yes. I said, oh, okay, so why are you protesting these pictures of this protest? He said, because I was a freelance photographer for the Courier. And I said, you were? He said, yes. He said, I was 20 years old and I was working for the Courier during that period in West Louisville. And I asked him to describe himself, and he did, because bells started ringing in my head. Here's a guy that said that he was down there. And I said, and I asked him, point blank on the thing, I said, I know you're not Superman. I said, were you trapped in a phone booth? At 20, and there was a long pause, and he said, yes. I said, well, truth be told, you shouldn't delete my pictures, or if you do, I should have let you die in that phone booth. Yeah, because I knew who he was then. Then he paused for a long time, and then he did. In fact, he thanked me for being at that particular time. But it was one of the. Okay.
But do you think that the rebellion in 1968 was a turning point for the community and for the city of Louisville?
Well, one thing that certainly brought attention, I don't know about the turning point of it, because 28th and Greenman in that area, in that Parkland area, was the hub of the black community. That was our 4th Street. That's where a lot of businesses were located at, hardware stores, tire stores, you name it, banks. And when after the riot, and if you ride through the Parkland area right now, it's nothing there, nothing, no businesses, no, not anything. So in a way it helped, in a way it hurt. If you go by today's standards, it hurt, because it's nothing there, nothing at all.
And how did it affect you personally and your photographic career?
You mean as far as the riot?
Yes.
Well, it gave me not that I'm boasting that I'm glad it happened, because I'm not glad that it happened. But when I got some checks in the mail from the Courier, the Associated Press, UPI, United Press International, it helped my career. I mean, that really did. I mean, it boosted it, people started kind of recognize. I mean, I was getting national coverage on that, and my pictures were appearing. In fact, my aunt, she called me from Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and told me that she seen one of my pictures on the front page of the paper in Fort Huachuca, Arizona.
Can you talk about the times when you encountered racism and discrimination early in your career?
I wouldn't really know where to start on that, but as Manny Jones, Miss Manny Jones was saying, that I've been in situations where they wouldn't even recognize my press pass. I could be standing with other photographers and being the only one of color in an event, no matter what it was, seemed like the police would always gravitate to me and want to see more than double. I've got a wristband on, saying media, press band, big old press card this big on my chest, and they still want to check it and look at it, but never checked any other journalists. And it goes right today. Mm-hmm. It goes on right at this moment. I'll give you a recent event. It was the Kentucky Derby Festival Parade, the Pegasus Parade. It was myself and 6 or 7 white photographers. We were walking up Broadway in the middle of the street to get a good position. As we was going up, the police stopped us and told me, although I had every credential that they had on, told me I had to get out of the street. I said, for what? I mean, I'm with the press. They didn't care. They told me to get out of the street. So, with the words that being exchanged and the other photographers, they started questioning why they were putting me out of the street. Now, I was trying to be the fly on the wall and not even be seen, but that was just a couple of years ago, but we eventually worked it out because one of the lieutenants, one of the ranking officers, he knew me, and he said it was okay. So, but I knew what it all had boiled down from was they were really geared up because every year after the parade was over with, anything of color, I'm talking about anything, little babies, anything, they herded them all west, pushed them west on horses, motor scooters, herd everybody west. So
you got some water over there, bud, if you need some.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Did you ever have your camera confiscated by the authorities?
Well, not so much confiscated. I know of 2 instances where, like during the riots, there was some trouble had broke out, on Broadway. The crowd was throwing rocks, you could hear gunshots everywhere. You could smell the tear gas in the air. But I remember when I got to 28th and Broadway, because they said it was a lot of stuff going on there. They had, in fact, they had a lot of people laying on the ground with, guns on them. Had them flat, straight out on the ground, quite naturally. I don't like to put myself in harm's way. I'm not one of them gun-ho photographers that want to get the shot at all costs. That's not none of me, because I had 4 kids I had to worry about. I wouldn't worry about I didn't have 4, I had 2, and I wouldn't, 1 and 1 on the way. But anyway, I wasn't gun-ho. I'm not a gun, even to today, I'm not a gun-ho photographer. But anyway, I started shooting because that's what I do. This one officer came up on me, had a shotgun, and he told me, he said, "Give me that film." I said, "What film?" He said, "The film in that camera." I said, I started backing up. because he was very aggressive. He was coming after me, especially with him with the weapon, you know, choice of weapons. He had the shotgun, I had the camera. Which one of us would come at it? But anyway, he kept backing me up. And when he got 6 inches from me, all he wanted, he just took the butt of his shotgun, hit my camera film with one way, camera with the other. I just had a strap around my neck. So that was one incident of, and the other incident was my friend Eddie Davis. The cops, the police had told me, a lot of them knew me, this was a few years ago, right, that it was a protest against the police downtown in front of police headquarters. But my brother was a local police department, so I'm not bashing the police department. He retired from the police, my youngest brother. But some of the officers, especially some of the black officers, came up to me and said, "Don't step out in the street, dude, they're gonna arrest you." I said, "Oh, okay, thanks for the heads up." They had already told the major, but they didn't, tell me, but these officers told me. Eddie was shooting, and Eddie is kind of gun-ho. He steps out in the street, and next thing I know, they had him. His camera was all wrapped around. They had his arms behind it, and they put him in a transport truck where they transport people to jail. So that was the second thing.
Let me, I guess we could talk about a lot of instances. Let me ask you, when people look at your photos, what do you hope that people will learn about them and about the West End of Louisville and the black community?
Well, with my images, I try to be fair. I try to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, with that said, I know what the feeling is today about West Louisville. I mean, I've got friends that live east of 9th Street. They won't even come down in West Louisville. I mean, they grew up in West Louisville, grew up in kind of homes where I moved, my family moved in my early teens, in fact, in my preteens, but they would not step foot across 9th Street going west. Well, in fact, a friend of mine, a sports writer that used to work for the Courier, him and his wife, they moved out, and they feel their way, and he tells me that one thing that he has to do every other weekend is come down to Indy's and get some of the chicken. His wife loves that Indy's fried chicken, and she will not come and get it, but he has to come and get it. But with that said, I mean, I raised all of my children in West Louisville. I still live in West Louisville. And the only thing that I can say about West Louisville that we need a major upheaving. It's nothing there now. I mean, it's nothing even to keep. And I don't blame a lot of people for leaving. That tax base that left and went east or south, north, whichever direction it went, has left West Louisville and dire need of some sort of Marshall Plan, I guess. But it's a good place to live.
Let me ask you, Bud, we don't have a lot more time, but do you have any particular of your pictures that are your favorites, or any particular people that you took pictures of that you thought were the most interesting or courageous, or?
Well, I consider them all my favorite people, but if you maybe talking about a celebrity or someone like that, yeah, well, Muhammad Ali would be one. I mean, you know, Ali and I, we were classmates at Madison Street Junior High. He sat right in front of me. His name was Clay at the particular time, and I was Dorsey. So I said, you know, that's how they used to sit in the classroom by alphabetical order. I would say Ali would probably be one that I say is one of my favorite photographs.
Well, there's so much more that Bud has. We hope that you talk to a lot of groups around the city about your career in photography and what you've experienced and what you've seen. And the books are for sale in the coffee place. And we want to thank you for coming to our church today and sharing your experiences.
My pleasure.
Please come to the coffee hour, even if you don't want to buy a book, and come talk to Bud. Everybody else who's here, there's a good representation here of people who are photographers and might have something to say. Thank you.